What's going on, homie?
Yo,
How have you been?
okay.
Yeah, nice. Happy to hear.
I got my first top 50 win yesterday, so I'm just chilling right now.
Oh, sweet. Who was it?
Hugs.
Hugs? Oh, okay. Nice. I can't remember. Were you the one that was saying you struggled with the Samus matchup, or was that someone else?
Uh, I
Or
don't
was
do
that
well
Alton?
versus Falcon and mid tier, so those are the characters I struggle with.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I
that.
lost 3-1
Okay.
to S2J. So.
Yeah. Yeah, SCJ is pretty good. Pretty freaking good at the game, you know? So, alright. I'm just gonna let people come in before we get started. So, at least into the stream. Oh, man. How did you feel about your set with Hugs?
um,
Do you remember any specifics of it? Things that were challenging or not challenging?
Honestly, like, a lot of it was just he didn't know how to recover at all, and he didn't get off ledge correctly.
I see. Yeah, I learned a little
I
like
forget if I
short hop nair trick against Samus. The short hop nair in place can be really really good against her trying to get up. Excuse me. Let's see. I know there's like a list or something. Oh, what's up, Alton?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How about you?
I'm good.
Nice. Okay. I'm just gonna let a few more people trickle in, hopefully. Oh man. But how have you been, Alton? What's you been up to?
Uh, Not much.
Yeah.
I gotta help my dad with something pretty
Hmm.
soon. I'm expecting a phone call, probably in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
At that point, I'll have to go. So,
Sure. Understandable. Life takes precedent over hobbies and stuff.
hmm
So, okay. I guess we'll go ahead and just get started. Um. So there was a few talking points that Joe mentioned. He was talking about maybe young Link, the game plan and strategies against young Link. I guess that can be like the first thing that we talk about. I honestly don't really play that matchup and haven't played that matchup a whole lot, but the general game plan, at least for me, is dealing with the projectiles by just hitting them and then looking for the bomb pull. Because once they pull the bomb, then you can just sprint towards them and set stuff up or get a free hit on them. And especially helpful when you start juggling them in that situation. Because a lot of people like to jump and do bomb pulls, but Marth can chase people pretty high up because of his disjoint.
hmm
So that's at least my game plan. I don't know if y'all have anything you want to talk about with that matchup, the Young Link matchup specifically. What's up, Butt Nose?
Um,
Butt
I mean, I
Nose.
haven't played Marth versus Young Link too much,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think you're pretty on the nose with the bomb pull.
Right.
A big problem starts to come up when Young Link has a lot of platforms to work around, especially on like stages like Dreamland, Yoshi's, Battlefield. He can kind of just like camp you really hard if he wants to.
Right.
And a big part of that is just reading his jumps.
You have to call out his platform movement too.
Mm-hmm.
You have to predict where they're gonna be and not where they're at currently.
Right. Yeah.
Young Link does not really want to be anywhere that isn't a platform, in my experience.
Yeah. A lot of them can be like that, or can feel like that at least. I know exactly what you're talking about. Um. Okay. Let's see. What's up, turtles? Not more specific, but do you have any tips on dealing with frustration, anger when playing / losing? Try to focus on improving instead of the W or L, but I can't help but feel angry when I get hit by something dumb or during laggy games. Um, at
That's because you
least.
made Marth. Marth is a terrible character for angry people.
Oh
no.
my god. No. It's really, really important. You have to learn acceptance and how to let go when things happen in neutral. Sometimes you're just gonna get hit, right? Like that just happens. So you have to be okay with that. If you start getting upset and frustrated, that anger or frustration will actually cause you to miss more things than you normally would. So I don't know if it's like maybe some inner self talk you're having going on, Turtles, that's causing you to continue to feel that frustration or anger when you play. Like when either you mess something up or when you get hit by something stupid. But it sounds like you need a little bit more respect for your opponent too. Because, I don't know, opponents, I mean, there's only three things in this game, technically, whenever you're playing it, right? It's you, your opponent, and then the stage. Your opponent is another person, and that's like the most difficult kind of opponent you can fight. Even if they are bad, and let's say for the sake of argument, they are worse than you, they still have good stuff that they do, and it's important to learn what they do and how to beat it while you play against them. So, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna ditto that one. Respect for your opponent. Something kind of like somewhat recently happened where I was playing against a Smash Ladder Smurf account. I didn't think that the player was that good, and I was getting very frustrated when I was losing to certain things. And then after the session, the player told me that they were Kuyashi, and Kuyashi, as you know, is like a really good Marth.
Right.
And they after I learned that it was them, I was, not as frustrated anymore, not as angry, and able to play the game better.
Right.
And I just kind of realized, like, yeah, you got to have respect for your opponent, even if you have no idea who they are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
You can also have too much respect for your opponent, and then you play kind of scared and defensive. Like
Yeah.
I know when I was playing None, I felt like I was always on the defensive because I was respecting his options a little bit too much.
Right.
Because I was like, okay, well, I think he's gonna mix up here, and I think he's gonna like play correctly here, but like he would just make a mistake, and I would be prepared for it because I was always just trying to cover the right option every time.
Right. Yeah, there is definitely like you have to find that balance, right? In between respecting them too much and not respecting them at all. You have to be at the healthy middle ground, really. Because at least for like a lot of the time, you can go based off of the saying, I don't know. Actually, trash that. I don't feel like talking about that. We'll say how do you feel about that, Turtles? Yeah, more respect for your opponent, definitely. Because even the best players in the world get outplayed by bad players sometimes. Like it just happens. Like competing at melee is a really really hard game, but any competitive fighting game is the same way. You definitely don't respect your opponents enough. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, you gotta learn to respect respect your opponent. Okay, let's see. What was the next talking point? The importance of shadowboxing. Okay, so do y'all shadowbox, Altan LSD? Do y'all shadowbox a lot?
Probably not
I've
as much
heard-
as I should.
I've heard PP talk about it in some of his old Smashboard posts when I was walking through them, but I don't really know what the correct way to do that is. Like if you're talking about like kind of pretending my opponent is doing things, like I can kind of think of situations in my head, and I do that pretty often, but I don't know
Yeah.
if that really counts as like physical shadow boxing. Where like
Right.
what kind of shadow boxing are you talking about?
Go ahead, Altan.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
It's okay.
I was gonna say I do. At least the way I understand shadowboxing is to just basically practice movement, but not doing it mindlessly, doing it as if there is somebody else there.
Right.
So practicing movement around like an invisible opponent or enemy, so that what you're practicing isn't pointless,
Mm-hmm.
or at least there's some more purpose to it than if you had just practiced movement otherwise.
Right.
And I do that. That was a thing I focused on a lot when I was first starting in Melee, especially when my movement wasn't as crisp. But I don't do it as much anymore, even though I know I probably should.
Yeah. There's two types of shadowboxing, at least in my opinion. There's probably more like subcategories of it, but there's like physical in-game shadowboxing in practice, and then there's the mental shadowboxing that you can do just in your head, like how LSD is talking about, which is a lot of what I do. But the shadowboxing, at least the best way to describe it is there's like I use it fine tuning my different sequences or tools in neutral, and I'll start from the exact same point, right? So I'll like roll all the way to the edge, and then I'll practice making it look like all the different like strings that I have look as similar as they can, so that I can make sure that I get that kind of like same response from my opponent. And then once I have those ironed out really well, I basically fight an imaginary opponent only up until the first hit, right? So like only up until the first thing, the first like contact that I would technically make against them, like a grab or like an actual like zoning poke or an attack, something like that. And that's how I do shadow boxing, at least. But trying to get everything as clean as possible and make it look like it's the same is so important. So yeah.
When I want to start moving well, what I do is I go in my head, like I try to like bring up the vibes of like Zayn in my head, and I'm like, what does a good Marth look like? And I just try to imitate in my head what I think a good Marth would do, and I end up winning.
Gotcha.
If I try to do my natural movement style, it's kind of weird. But like, if my natural movement style isn't working, I just like, I say in my head, okay, how does a good Marth look? And then I just like try to do that. So
right.
It's like almost like a weird imitation.
Would you call them visualizations that you're using? It sounds like visualizations.
I just visualize what I think good Marth is played like, and then I'm able to play better.
Visualizations are heavily underrated. Using visualizations for Melee is actually one of the things that has helped me out the most. It's just like watching a top level Marth and seeing what they do, and then learning how to recreate it. And if you keep doing it in your head over and over again, then like, yeah, shit, you're gonna eventually get it down.
Yeah, there is a lot of, theory that goes into playing Marth, and if you only focus on the theory without getting like a real intuition for the character as well, it can be very difficult to improve quickly as well. I mean, a big part of that is watching good Marths, just so that you can see how it's supposed to look, how everything comes together all in one, even though you might not be picking up on the really, really subtle things.
Right.
That's like a good step, is just watching good Marth play.
Mm-hmm. Just for reference, for watching them for reference and seeing how they handle certain things, and then your entire game plan should be something that's built specifically for you as a person, rather than trying to mimic that of a game plan of another player. So like, there might be, that's the greatest thing. You can watch a bunch of different high-level Marth mains, and you can pick and choose what you want depending on how you like it. If you see something you really, really like, well then shit, yeah, like definitely start learning how to use it in your own gameplay. But also learn all the different mix-ups that come off of that as well. Because that's really, that is so, so important, is learn how to play for you. Don't learn... And this is something that I got stuck on for a really, really long time. And it's embarrassing to say, but I got stuck on somebody's game plan that wasn't my own. And I made the assumption that was like quote-unquote optimal play, or like close to optimal play. But
was it PP?
Yeah, it was definitely PP. It was absolutely
like two,
PP.
Like new Marth, they have like two different like schools of thought, like new, and you can tell exactly which school of thought they follow by how they play.
Mm-hmm.
There's the I want to be like Music King Marth, and then there's the I want to be like PP Marth.
Yeah, well, I'm not that new though, but I get what you mean. His movement was something that I was just so perplexed by. I was like, how can he act out of... How does he get to act out at any point during his dash dance with a reaction? Like, that is so fucking insane to me. And it's still really, really impressive. But PP as his game plan, at least from everything that I've been able to tell, his biggest strength is his memorization. He can just like memorize the crap out of like he uses neutral to gain information, and then it feels like he uses that and then just keeps going for like riskier things because he knows that his opponent likes to do those certain options, and then he just goes on there. There's yeah. Oh, what's up, Revenant Dead? How are you doing, homie? You want to hear Arc Discovery of the Week? I don't know if I have a discovery. I will say this. I have been using a lot more shield stopping in certain positions where I can shield stop, wave dash, tip, or down tilt, or dash and shield stop, and then if like only against certain characters, but after the dash and shield stop, you can just grab what is it? You can just grab somebody if they try coming into you with like a high aerial or stuff like that. PP on the Marth
after shield stop are insane. That's
something
really underrated that people don't do.
Right. It's been pretty popular, but I started playing around with it a little bit more because I'm dashing into a range where it starts to become unreactable, and then I shield, and then like I can go into jump if I need to. I can go into jump back if I need to dodge something. I can just wave dash back, right? Or I can wave dash forward if they give up a lot of stage. Like it's really nice and just something I haven't really given a lot of thought into until like recently. I was talking with actually Cactuar. Cactuar helped me out and taught me some of that stuff. So it was pretty sick. Doesn't matter how long you've been playing the game, you can always learn from others. Like, yeah. This game, there's way too much to this game to know everything for yourself or everything by yourself. Who is the coolest character in Melee? Marth. Did y'all have anything that you wanted to talk about on that? Doesn't sound like it. Okay.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Sure.
The next talking point was the using fair properly during punish and combo versus survival DI. I mean, I feel like those two things kind of fit together.
Right. They definitely do. What I used to do is I would like go into practice and training or just when I was playing friendlies, and I would hit someone with like a tipper up air or a tipper fair, and I would wait and see exactly how long the hit stun lasted to see what I could come up with. So like it's the thing that I'm using is something that's used in other fighting games called a hit confirm. And it's kind of self-explanatory, but the moment that you hit something and you see the visual connect, you need to be looking at the opponent and seeing how you can like optimize your punish off of that hit. If you might not be able to go for another hit, then you can even use that as setting a trap up from like a juggle. But I think there's like there's two different kinds of hits, especially with like combo moves, and that's stray hit or a clean hit. What's up? Stray hit is something you know won't lead into anything, and you just let it be like a poke by itself, right? And then you just gain the positional advantage, and then that's the punish. The punish is the percent that you got for the hit, and then also the stage position that you gained. And then a clean hit is something more like a tipper hit where you can combo more, or you can combo after it. And that's kind of how I define that, at least. I don't know how y'all feel about that.
What was the topic?
Oh, no, that's fine. Using fair properly during punish or using tippered moves properly for punish, I guess would be a good thing to say. Because you have to know how long the stun lasts. If you don't, then you're not going to be able to set up a good combo.
When I was first starting with Marth, at least for a long while, I was really not using anything other than tipper fair. And then once I started to experiment more with weak fair, a lot more combo trees opened up. I mean, that move, even though it's got less hit stun and, it can potentially get you reversaled, it's actually very good, in particular for like edge guarding scenarios and certain juggles.
Mm-hmm.
It can lead to Ken combos at times, but think a lot of those kind of combos off of weak fair aren't true. So you got to be careful.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you still some characters their air dodge isn't very good, right? So you can't. Sometimes you're not going to be able to get it against like a Peach or a character with a good air dodge. But other times it doesn't matter if you're like a few frames off, just because they can't get the air dodge out quick enough. And they like even at the startup with the air dodge, they have a little bit of vulnerability. Okay. I'm not going to talk about combo versus survival DI. You just have to learn. You just have to learn like what's good when, and then how to mix it up whenever your opponent starts mixing you up, and learning the setups for it. So another talking point is tech chasing. I'm gonna let Altan and LSD talk about that. I have a method that I now have, but I want to hear what y'all have to say on it, on how to tech chase with Marth, because I know LSD is pretty confident in his tech chasing game.
My method is really odd, and it's probably not the optimal method. The optimal method is probably the run forward crouch method, which is what Drug Fox recommended you do, and what the normal method is. But the method I use is I literally just run forward, stand there, and react to every option. So like, the downside to this method is that if your reaction times like are feeling good, like you have to take care of yourself in real life so your reaction times are good. So like it's kind of inconsistent in that like if you're like not feeling good, then like you might not do it as well. But if you do it right, all you do is with most characters, all you do is if you see them go for the get up attack, you just shield and then grab them. But the hardest part of it is reacting to their initial DI on the F throw. And what I do is I wave dash forward on all DIs except for down and away. And if they DI down and away, then I dash forward.
Okay.
But the hardest mix-up with tech chasing is if they do no tech. If they tech, I can tech chase them 0 to 200, no problem. But when they mix in no tech, it becomes really difficult because the mix-up there is no tech get up attack and no tech roll backwards.
Right.
So what I've discovered is a really powerful counterplay to that is I wait for them, like I just tech chase them until they do no tech, and then I react to that, and then I instant up B them. So it sends them off stage, and I can convert it into a kill probably.
Interesting. Even if they give me 1 second, Alton. Sorry. If
Go for it.
Can't they? If they tech it, are you still safe from that on stages? I guess that wouldn't be FD, right? Or even it depends on percent. I guess now that I think about it.
What do you mean?
So like using the update.
If they tech it, you're still safe. I'm pretty sure they like get slid all the way to the ledge, or they fall off stage. And if they slide to the ledge, like they might be able to do like if they're playing Fox, a perfect ledge dash into like a light hit or something.
Right.
But like you're not really gonna get hit hard. I've never really gotten hit out of it super hard. The worst that's ever happened to me was I got get up attacked. That's like the worst. It's like the worst possible outcome is that you can get up attacked.
Right.
And then only if you don't react correctly to the no tech.
Okay. What were you saying, Alton? Sorry.
I was just gonna say I pretty much do it the way you taught me, Arc, which was just the dash forward.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then I do a lot more things with crouch and dash back out of crouch now, but I find that very difficult to do on a controller. So
yeah, that's the thing that I didn't like.
I have so much trouble with dash back out of crouch.
Right, that shit's hard. Like
it's free on box. That's all I can say. When I'm playing on a box,
really?
I get it very, very consistently.
Okay, gotcha. So it might be a little bit of a controller, a difference in controllers might open that up. I like the stand. The stand method that you talked about, LSD, is one that I use now. But I created a different method. Nah, I don't know if I created it. Probably I didn't. I'm not going to try and take credit for any of it. But using walk as a reaction point. So like you grab someone, you throw them, and then you start walking, right? And as you start walking, you react to their DI. If they DI all the way out and away, then you wave dash from walk, right? Then you wave dash in from walk, or dash wave dash if it's that much further. And if they take in place, you have access to standing grab, because when you keep trying to react with jump cancel grab, it can add up to three frames extra when you do jump cancel grab.
I'm not doing jump cancel grab on mine.
Oh yeah. I know you weren't. I was just saying.
If I do the tech chase, and they DI down and away, which is the only situation in which I use dash, I do a mini dash and then I do a long distance wave dash. And that's how I do it. Okay. So I'm like in the wave dash. I'm not,
there's a few different ways of doing it. But the method personally that I like a lot is starting with walk as a reaction point, and then going from there with either wave dash if I need it, if they DI all the way away, or I'll just do the regular walk, and then I can wave dash to different points as well, and then I can still get that standing regular 7-frame grab that I react with instead of jump cancel grab. Because there's also the other way where you use dashing to set that up, and then you jump cancel grab on reaction to whatever they do. But yeah. Okay.
It's kind of hard for me to even visualize or like say what I'm doing, because like honestly, when I'm playing melee, like I just kind of naturally move to the position I need to be in, so I don't even like think about what like actual individual inputs I'm doing now.
Right.
Like it's like almost like
It's like, wait, what the hell did I do?
Yeah, it's like almost subconscious. Like I just like input what I need to do to get there.
Right. Whoa, that high is a little aggressive, Torn and Revenant. Y'all gotta chill with that calf stuff. Revenant asked, Ark, I remember you saying Marth has the potential to be the most aggressive character in the game. Can you elaborate on that? So aggression doesn't necessarily mean attacking. Aggression just means moving forward. And because of how Marth is with this movement, he can threaten and project threats from pretty far away. So if you learn how to project the threats well, like the game plan that I've been building recently is quite aggressive, but it's using a lot of different like tools. I'm adding a lot of shield stopping to it to allow myself to get hitboxes in very specific positions that normally he doesn't have access to when he would be normally dash dancing. And I plan on mixing that up with flowing or just using more dash dancing, and then mix in between those is kind of my goal right now with it. I'm still not like super consistent with the new style of play, but I'm getting more and more comfortable with it every day. So, what were you saying?
I feel like Marth needs claw to get some of the hitboxes out in time.
Right. I use a bunch. So like what I did is I taught myself how to do like the immediate fair from jump back, jump in place, and jump forward, how to like do all of those really well and really cleanly. So I kind of have like I have a way of getting all the like perfect aerial out of like jump as fast as you can on all different kinds of jumps. The same with dashing. I can do it with all the different dashes. It's just my basics. I've just built my basics up really, really well. And that's what allows me to do a lot of the stuff that I do. Ark, how do you beat really aggressive Fox players? I feel like no matter what I do, they get in and destroy me. I wonder... I have a curiosity about that, Torn. So, try adding short dash forward instead, like the Foxtrot. And if you see them bolting in at you, you can just grab in place or down tilt or nair. Like, use jump back. Honestly, what I think it is you're not protecting your dash back. So sometimes you need to jump back instead of dashing back, or wave dash instead of dashing back. So like dash in, wave dash back, and that way if they keep running at you, you can jump and like you can babysit them with fair, right? and go from that. Or you can do a short dash forward, like how I was talking about, and if they continue running forward, you just grab in place and they run into the grab. If it's far enough away, it might not be. But yeah, it sounds like you need to be protecting your dash back a little bit better.
I'm not gonna lie. My biggest weakness as a Marth player currently is that I'm way too aggressive. Because for me, what happened a long time is, I would dash back, and then they would just move forward and do like an overshoot nair and then like a jab or something. Like I'll get stuck facing the wrong way. It's just terrible.
Right.
So, I would just start like dashing forward, and like I was like, okay, well, I hate like trying to play that like weird pivot grab out spacing game. Like,
Right.
I want them to play at my tempo. So, like for me right now, I'm like way too aggressive.
I think you can make it work with Marth's aerial drift. This is what I've been finding out more and more, and the play that I am like really going for is really, really aggressive. But you can slow people down. Like you can learn how to slow them down with different jump drifts as well as like grounded movements. You can, especially with jump drift, with Marth's jump drift, he can really make people play slow, which is really obnoxious and really annoying. Sometimes it feels like they don't really get a chance to play.
There's certain characters I just like are so good at running Marth over, like Captain Falcon.
Right.
Like versus Falcon, for example, a lot of his approaches feel like unreactable. So like you just have to kind of position yourself in a way where like you'll win the exchange without reacting.
Right.
You have to like, almost like read them in neutral over and over and over again, which is a really weird playstyle as Marth. That's kind of something that kind of struggle. Because like with Marth, like everyone's like, when you think of Marth, you think of like carefully reacting to every option, just like down to them, fairing them, or grabbing them.
Yeah.
So I guess Falcon, for example, like I feel like I'm doing a ton of approaching nair, like 24/7, because it leads to a knockdown or maybe even a grab. Does damage, cuts off the approaching nair, but I think in certain matchups, what's really important is like figuring out the rhythm of the game.
Yeah, I mean,
the rhythm of the game is what I've been studying to start beating top 100 players.
Yeah.
It's like while I'm playing, what I do is I'm counting beats, which is it's like the beat that the opponent is playing on is the amount of feints before they approach. So like a first beat play would be immediately just running in with a move. A second beat play would be like dashing forward, dashing back, and then dashing in.
Tempo,
so,
right? Yeah, I mean, like levels of intent. I get what you're talking about. Yeah.
But what I've been working on is reading people's beat, and then the off beat they switch to when they see that their beat is getting red. So I know Hungry Bucks, for example, plays on a 1-3-5-7 rhythm, which is he plays on the first beat, he plays on the third beat, and then he mixes between the fifth and the seventh beat. And like I think it's a really interesting rhythm. What I noticed a lot of good Marths play on is a 1-2-4 beat pattern, which is they'll go into the first beat, go into the second, go into the fourth, and like the second beat is a play to beat spot dodge. The first beat play is like the mixing to prevent them from running you over, and the fourth beat is like the patient kind of cooling things down so you can get like a dash dance grab or something. It's like but that is the kind of beat pattern I've been working towards, is just kind of that.
Right.
I know certain players have like really unpredictable beat patterns. Like none mixes between 1 and 2 so frequently that it's just like really annoying to deal with.
Yeah. I can't really say as far as that. I haven't really paid too much attention. Like, of course I know about like a lot of tempo and momentum based things, and more tempo since that's what we've been discussing. But Yeah, I mean, just going through and building like different levels of intent for each tool that you have is good. The tempo of the tool, excuse me. Actually, I need to correct myself on that. The tempo of the tool is really important. Whether or not it's like, I guess, yeah, how you were saying it was fine. Whether or not it's the first beat, second beat, third beat, and that kind of stuff. I don't really think you need more than three for a singular tool unless you're at like a really really high level. But yeah, I think you could just build the rest of your basics around to where you wouldn't need it. But I also think that's a really interesting point that you're playing with. So I think that's really cool.
I feel
Oh,
like
what's up,
past a
Cast? How are you
certain
doing,
level,
homie? Go ahead.
I feel like past a certain level, everyone is kind of playing the matchup decently correct. So like, I'm kind of working on more subtle ways of winning and like trying to figure out how like people are so good at reading and that kind of thing. Cause like,
Right.
it's a way of classifying adaptation that like makes sense to me. Cause like adaptation is just like a almost vague concept all of the time.
Yeah.
But I think the rhythm system is something that has really helped me learn how to adapt very well. Like in my hug set, I was down one stock to three and like 30%, and like I just figured out his rhythm, and then I won the game, and then I won the set. So it was like
Right.
it's just something that has helped me out in a lot of sets by giving me something like active to think about. Because like sometimes when you're playing and you're just kind of like you're just playing and chilling, you kind of zone out a little bit, and then you do the same thing over and over and over again. So I like to have something on my mind to kind of play around with while I'm playing.
Right.
Keep me like focused on what's actually happening instead of like, oh, this is how the matchup is played. I'm gonna autopilot and do that.
Right.
Like past a certain level, people know how to do these stupid mix-ups that like you can play the matchup really well, but like still lose because they have a read on your rhythm, and like because if they know what you're gonna do, they can beat it. Like because a lot of Marth things feel like almost like 50-50s. Like okay, so down tilt would be this grounded approach, but it loses to like this overshoot, like nair or whatever.
Melee and a lot of the other fighting games are pretty interesting because you can lose even when you play and you don't make any mistakes. Like competition is just like that sometimes. Like
yeah, but
yeah,
that like figure out why you lose, and I was trying to figure out like a statistical way of classifying it. And that's kind of what I found.
Okay.
That's because I had like a spreadsheet with a bunch of players rhythm patterns, and I was like comparing them, and I was using those compared rhythm patterns to develop a beat pattern that would really throw people off with the Marth made.
Interesting.
And 1-2-4 was the most common one among the top level that I found.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, but LSD is asked you a question. LSD.
Where did you learn to count beats? Honestly, it's like an idea that I've just been kind of tossing around with for a couple of years, but I only recently started like consciously implementing it because I kind of have to now. Everyone is so good. Everyone is so good. Like everyone's so good that I play now that I have to like come up with weird way like. So consistency, I think, is all about knowing why the things you're doing is working. And like it's easy to see why a punish worked or didn't work, but it's really hard to see why like a neutral tool worked or didn't work. Because like a neutral tool, you can use it in the same positioning at the same time, and it can work in one instance and not work in another, depending on what your opponent like, what beat your opponent chooses to go in on. And like the 2 beat won't work if they wait a beat and then spot dodge, for example. And like that kind of I'm currently like consciously counting beats so that eventually I won't have to like consciously do it.
Yeah.
Like
that's how it should be. Make it.
I'm in the in the learning stage right now where I'm implementing it, and then once I get good enough at it, it'll be kind of like a none scenario where it's just like. He has this like weird mental lock on you sometimes where it's like it feels like you're always guessing the wrong timing. and like that's because he has a really firm understanding of the rhythm of the game. And that's something that a lot of read-based players and intuition-based players have is like this really good understanding of like when to go for a read.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play instruments. I used to play piano, but it's not like a literal beat, as in like a rhythm per se, like a fixed rhythm. It's more like I'm counting the number of times an opponent like decides to like fake me out.
In my brain, the way one beat works in Melee is one dash dance.
Yeah.
It's about the timing.
No. I would agree with that. That sounds like it's on the money. Yeah. So like the tools, just like LSD mentioned too, both have good and bad aspects to them. And so there's pros and cons for every singular tool that you have in the game, and it's important to learn how to beat them. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say like a big part of like the way I think about beats is my approaches and my defensive options. And if I notice that I'm getting kind of run over when I'm about to approach, I'll start to kind of shift things to an offbeat.
Right.
So that way I'm doing something like a dash back or a defensive option when my opponent would be approaching instead of them, stuffing me out or something that would be happening otherwise. It's particularly important in the fastballer matchups, I would say.
Right.
I think Stango is really the one who inspired me to start thinking about like the inner mechanics of the game at a more deep level in terms of like understanding like the concepts behind momentum and rhythm and tempo and that kind of thing. I think he has a very, very good understanding of that, and like playing him and just listening to him talk about habit exploitation and like that kind of thing really inspired me to work on that.
Okay. Nice. Let's see. What is another out of the three different talking points? Well, I guess I don't want. We already talked about tech chasing. I don't really feel like we need to talk about STI Fox up air. I feel like there's enough stuff on that. Same with slide offs. There's enough information. It's like C-stick down and joystick left or right, right? Like I'm pretty sure that's how that is.
For slide offs?
For slide off.
Basically.
Okay.
It can get a little bit more complicated, but it doesn't really need to be.
Right. Okay.
I honestly don't really do anything that isn't just like down and right on the stick or down and like a diagonal.
Right. Dealing with camping, that's kind of difficult to talk about because we need to have like a character that's that we're talking about. Do y'all struggle with camping at all? Like
only really against on strangely enough Fox and Falcon, not Falco, but Falcon.
Gotcha.
They have some stuff they can do to camp out Marth pretty hard.
Yeah.
Fox camping makes me want to die. It's so hard to deal with. Oh my god, Aklo.
Yeah.
It's the campiest Fox ever, but he's so good at it.
There's a local Fox zealot. He's just pretty insane with the camping too. And I feel somewhat responsible because I think one day I told him that he can go to the top platform, and then he started experimenting, and since that day it's been much harder.
Not like this, Altan. Not like this. We deserve this punishment, if I'm being honest. We deserve it.
It gets tough, yeah.
Right. The point of that is you have to start cutting. You have to learn how to cut off their escape pattern.
Yeah.
Like, and how they're... Go ahead.
For me, a big part of it is just like trying to read a full hop.
Right.
Or like see when they like to full hop. Because if they're playing around platforms and running away a lot, they're also full hopping.
Right. Absolutely. Cutting off their full hop and cutting them off going for platforms is 100% necessary. You have to learn how to be able to do that if you want to beat camping. And even then, camping isn't really camping. Camping is just like defensive play. Like camping, I don't know. Everyone thinks camping is like awful and bad, but it is a strategy and it works for a reason. So, and everyone in the Melee community is a little silly and they made an 8-minute timer. So, but anyway.
I have definitely used all of that 8-minute timer before.
Oh, hell yeah. You better believe it.
I think one of my very first... I think it was my first Melee major. I got timed out by a puff.
Oh, that hurts.
I made it
timed out a Falco one time.
It was the last Smash and Splash last year. I
Okay.
made it to round 2 of pools or whatever. Keep in mind that at this point I'd only been playing Melee for a few months, so my movement and stuff was like not very good. And I camped a Puff. I definitely started it.
Oh no.
And then he started camping back, and I got timed out in like a game 3 scenario.
Oof. Those are always rough ones for sure.
I mean, I definitely started the camping. No, I won't lie.
But I think Butt asked you a question, Alton.
Oh, about I see. Oh, so is that was about the beats thing, right?
Oh,
It's
wait,
not-
yeah. Go ahead.
I think if that's about the beats thing, it's not that I'm adapting to something. It's not that I'm choosing different options based on when I'm getting stuffed. It's more that I'm changing the timing of what I'm doing, I guess, if that makes sense. Because the same options might work if you just do them slightly later or slightly earlier.
For sure.
That's sort of what I mean with the beats thing. It's not necessarily about what options you're choosing. Because Marth, I mean, at the end of the day, we only have so many tools, and the timing of those tools is like pretty much the biggest mix-up, in my opinion.
There's a few different mix-ups, like a few different intents and then tempos. Like
yeah, and spacings, of course, as well. Timing and spacing. That's like
right.
one of the biggest things once you know your tools.
For sure. Woo. Alrighty. Let's see.
I think I'm gonna have to get going really soon here.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Is there anybody in chat that had extra questions? Because I think we're pretty close to being done with them, other than like a few different ones. Space and time. Alton, more like Einstein. Damn.
Physics major.
That's sick. Let's see. So I guess if nobody in chat has any... Oh! What's the secret behind PP's movements / spacing?
That's such a big question.
Yeah, that's like
question.
a massive question.
No one really knows the answer except for PP.
I mean, I don't know.
Where do you think PP would be in the modern Melee metagame? Like, what ranking do you think PP?
PP is still fucking a nightmare scary player. Have you watched some of the stuff when he streams? Like when he plays well and he's not goofing around? He's still a fucking nightmare, cleverly disguised as a human being. That guy is insane still. So, what's up, Steven?
I think he could easily be top 10 still.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think he would be around the 30 range.
Not in his current present state where he's somewhat out of practice, but if he got into it, he would definitely be a top 10 player for sure.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, speculating doesn't really interest me too much, but he's still an incredibly strong player. Like, incredibly strong. You're better versus Marth? That's awesome to hear, Steven. You're down to finish it soon? Yeah, just message me on Discord or Facebook and let me know when, because we still... I think we still have 40 minutes? We only got like 20 minutes into it, so... I can't wait.
Lessons are good.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Alton, actually, Stabone 3 is a good peach. If you or LSD were looking for good peach practice, he would definitely be somebody that I would look at or ask.
I sort of learned Melee playing against Peach. I consider that one of my better matchups because when I was first starting Melee, I would play with Hanky Panky a lot on net play.
Gotcha.
And there are very few Peaches better than Hanky Panky. So
yeah. You gave thoughts on it before, Ark. You said part of it was how well he memorizes his opponent's responses. Yeah, like I talked to Cactus about it for a little bit too. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, PB's memorization skills are kind of terrifying. Like, PB's one of the only people that I've sat down to play, like, and he four-stocked me. I've never been four-stocked that many times in a single session, ever. And it was like 300% more than any other player. It was embarrassing and insane the first time I ever played with him. So, That dude is scary good.
The worst I've ever been beaten was versus Albert.
The what?
The worst I've ever been beaten is versus Albert, his Falco.
Dude, Albert's a trip, man. Albert.
It literally felt impossible.
Right.
I just got absolutely blown up. Like, are you?
Right.
I don't think I got a single punish the entire set. Like, it was impossible.
Oh no. Albert lives in the city right next to mine. He lives in Austin, and I'm pretty much North Austin. So
Do you have functional internet? You have functional internet.
Not really.
Aw.
Yeah, I know it sucks.
You can't play rollback at all.
I mean, I can, and I do a little bit from time to time, but like, I'm just rolling the dice on whether or not I get a decent connection or not. Because even the people in my city, like, I get awful connection with. So it's just like, sometimes I'm able to play against people and it doesn't really lag that much, and then I play against, like, I'll have one match that feels fine, I'll play another and it just feels unbearable. So I pretty much just don't really play with it too much right now. What does it feel like when you're playing who? What does it feel like when I'm playing who? Oh, PP? It's like I didn't get to play. It's like every single option that I chose was the wrong one eventually. And I had different ways of slowing it down sometimes, but like the first time I ever played him, it was, oh man, he beat the shit out of me. And still to this day, nobody has beaten me as bad as PP did that time when I first played him. And so, but the only other person that was close was a money match with Armada, and that was like a 4-stock, 3-stock, and I think a 2-stock or a 3-stock on the last game. But Pete, man, yeah, the games that I got against PP, it was just like 4-stock, 4-stock, 3-stock, 4-stock, 4-stock. Forced, I was like, oh my god, please make it stop. Yeah. Anyway, I won't talk about that too much, but it was pretty funny. It was really, really funny.
I think I have to go now.
All right, man.
I'm just gonna say goodbye. I hope I was able to offer something somewhat helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. Hopefully,
I still consider myself very much in the process of learning like the basics of Marth at the same time.
Hell yeah. Always be a student. That's my thing that I try and follow, my mission statement, I guess. Always be learning.
Mm-hmm.
I be doing learning.
I be doing learning. What? Get out of my head, LSD. I just thought that. I had that thought and you said it out loud. That was fucking insane to have happen. Anyway, all right. I'll thank you for the discussion.
Yep.
Peace.
Yep.
Okay, so I think there's only a few more things, and I am starting to feel a little tired. So we'll cover the high level stuff real fast, and then I think I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. Nothing on suggestions, but yeah. So handling bad habits is a point that Joe wanted us to bring up. So the way that I try handling habits or bad habits of my own is, let's say I get hit by something, right? And I get outplayed. And I'm like, all right, well, what was I trying to do in this situation? What was the end result? What did my opponent do? And what can I do next time to get around that? And then I just start recognizing the situation as it comes up. And even if I do it again, if I choose the same option, I don't get mad or frustrated or upset. I accept it and I let go of it. But my goal, after recognizing it over and over again, my goal is to recognize it before the situation comes up, right? And then once that situation comes up, I don't want to do anything. Or I replace it with something else if I can. But it starts with recognition of it. And then it starts with recognizing it before the situation comes up. And then you work on the implementation of the new tool. Because it's very difficult to break habits. So it's better to alter a habit than to feel like you're trying to break it or be forceful with it. So how do you feel about all that, LSD?
habits are odd because like it's hard to tell if a habit is good or bad because a habit can be both good and bad just depending on where you use it.
Right.
So like I think I would honestly try to approach every like game of Melee as if like you're going to be tailoring your play to the opponent basically. So like I don't think trying to find one true play style is very viable past a certain level. So like I think when you're playing, all of the moves you choose should be based around what the opponent is doing. Like, so like at the beginning of the set, you should play kind of reactionary and just information gather. Like, usually bad habits are a commitment somewhere where like the commitment isn't viable. So playing really low commitment near the beginning of the set, and then slowly ramping it up as you gain information is a good way to like avoid habitual play. Because like if you're always playing based on like what the opponent is doing, then like even if an option won't always work, like it can work where it needs to be working, basically.
Right. You need balance in that too. But yeah, I get what you mean. For sure.
Like there's certain things you can say, like you can be like, okay, well using downside here is good, but like there's always in Melee there's always an option that can beat your option every time.
Right. There's two rules that are really important that I mentioned last time, and I want to mention them again. And this is what PP told me too. He's the person who introduced me to this. Is the two rules. There's nothing is guaranteed or safe always. That's the first rule, and the second rule is that being said, you have tools to sometimes make things safe or sometimes make things guaranteed, which was really helpful for me understanding that and being introduced to those concepts. Wow, my energy just got sapped. Ugh. We'll talk about one more thing. We'll talk about bad mentality, and then that'll be the last of it for today because I'm getting really exhausted for some reason, really fast. Oh wait.
It's hard to talk about the game, to be honest.
Right. Actually, hold on. I'm sure I could just change the music that I'm listening to. Oh, uh-oh. That's really loud. Oh, wait. I don't know if I can... That's what this is. That's right. Okay. Okay. Make sure to check DMs. Okay, yeah, I'll check the DMs in a minute. Hold on. Actually, give me 1 second. I don't know what's... Damn it, Joe. You fucking goof. I'm not... No. Damn it, Joe. Anyway. Let's see. Bad mentality. So, like, you have to learn how not to beat yourself up, and you have to learn how to also respect your opponent a certain level.
The topic is bad mentality.
Mm-hmm.
What Captain Crunch was talking to me about is just like he's talking about radical acceptance, which is just like saying like, okay, you just accept that every character in the game has bullshit.
Yep.
And like you just like or just like okay, whatever. Like you just have to accept that like okay. And what I do is like when I'm playing, like I used to get really upset because like I would have a lead and I would lose it every time. But what I started just doing is just like saying to myself, okay, well leads literally don't matter. Like
Yeah.
for either player, like only the last stock of the game matters. So I just I stopped getting less upset when I would get like 0 to death by a falcon off of one random neutral scrap interaction.
Right. Sometimes you just get got. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get hit once in neutral,
You just have to deal with it,
and you just fucking die for it, and that's okay. That's just is what it is.
Marth does the same thing to other characters. So like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just envision it as like karmic retribution for all the times I've given Fox a 0.
Oh my god.
You can play your leads while still saying that like a lead doesn't matter. Like especially versus Puff, like you can like get a lead and it can play kind of well, and then they can read you with an up tilt rest and you can just lose your lead instantly. Like
right. Well, the way that
it's so simple. It's so simple to lose a lead. Like you can, I get a lot of mileage. I did just like because when you get a lead, people expect you to play kind of like defensive and like oh I have to keep this lead.
Right.
Like I don't want to lose this lead, but like for some reason when I get a lead, like after kind of changing my mindset about it a little bit, I become even more aggressive with the lead, and it throws people off. Like they're like, well, he's got a lead. He's gonna play kind of far back.
I think
I'm running at you.
The best mentality, at least for like having a lead, is okay. I am up right now. How might my opponent change their play based off of my lead, and then try and reflect the opposite of that when you play against them. So like if they're playing really passively, then you can go in, and if they're playing really aggressive, then you can use your lead that way to lead them into hits, which is really really easy against mid or lower level players. Like that's like an amazing thing that you can do, and that's also what helps you snowball so much. So because playing around your opponent's invincibility, what higher level players will do is they'll move around the stage in such a way to get you to chase them. And by the time you're done chasing them, by the time your invincibility runs out, they've made you use your invincibility and waste it. And they're in a position where they can get a grab or a hit off on you. And that is just so annoying if it works out in their favor, or if it works out in your favor because it's really really good. But yeah, you have to learn how to draw people into you and like make them waste time with their invincibility, and then make them waste their invincibility and be in certain spots that are advantageous for you. Like that's the best way to snowball, at least in my opinion.
I'm a big fan of just light shooting on a platform, to be honest.
Right.
Light shooting on a platform is sick.
just fucking get your foldable chair and open it up and sit in that shield, my man.
What are they gonna do? Come up and grab me and then I just shield drop like. It's
God.
so funny when they're like like I tried to hit you and it didn't work. Let me run up and grab you, and they just shield drop and upgrade them.
This motherfucker. Yeah. God.
Hold on, there's an image. I'm gonna post it in the Marth R&D group.
Oh my God. All right.
Hold on.
That'll probably be the last thing after we see whatever the hell it's gonna be that you're gonna post. And we'll probably end stream unless does anybody in chat have any other questions? I don't want to end it too soon.
I found it. I'll post it in the memes. Once it doesn't clog up the general.
It's nothing. Okay. Neutral. What? Oh my God. That's a silly meme that Spike posted. Did you post it? All right, let's see. Nice. Ha. Yes. Ha ha ha. Yes.
That's how I feel with someone where I'm just light shielding on a flap.
God. I swear, Marth mains.
Oh, you're trying to hit me?
Psych. Well. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Y'all, I'm feeling kind of tired again for some reason, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end it for today. But we should be back next week, same time, or not, maybe same time. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. LSD, it was a pleasure speaking with you again this week.
Yeah,
And I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. All right.
yeah.
Peace, y'all.